Brandis, the sky is truly the limit. The Chicago Sky won its first WNBA title in franchise history yesterday with an 80-74 victory against the Phoenix Mercury at Wintrust Arena. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says the city will celebrate the team's win tomorrow with a rally in Millennium Park after a parade down Michigan Avenue. And joining us to comment on the Sky's WNBA championship are Shannon Ryan, a managing editor with The Athletic and a former sports reporter for the Chicago Tribune, and Annie Costabile, a Chicago Sun-Times reporter who covers the Chicago Sky and the Red Stars, Chicago's professional women's soccer club. Welcome, both of you, to Chicago tonight. Annie Costabile, we want to get to the game, and so much has been made of superstar, one of the best players in WNBA history, Candace Parker's decision to come back home after 13 years in L.A. to help put the Sky over the top. Remind us what drove that decision.
Well, I think a lot of things, but ultimately I think she wanted to return home and do exactly what she did, bring a championship here. Obviously, a lot needed to happen in order for that championship to be accomplished, but she was motivated by bringing a championship back to her hometown, and she ultimately was able to do that.
And remember, the team was around 500 at the time, and Shannon Ryan, Parker also talked about the sacrifice she had to make. She had to leave her daughter in L.A. to achieve that goal. Is this a reality of a lot of players in the WNBA to balance these kinds of sacrifices?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Just I think what's lost on a lot of people is the WNBA has a lot of players who are sacrificing in a lot of ways, playing overseas in their off season. I mean, as soon as their season ends, maybe a week, a couple days, the next day they're headed, to a country, getting on an airplane, flying and playing there for months, almost no breaks. And yeah, and with Candace Parker, I mean, it's just really, it's championships are always emotional for players. I think even more so for her coming home, and then just that sacrifice of, I think, being a working mom, like a lot of these WNBA players are, and a lot of people are, and not getting to spend as much time with her daughter, who was in LA for part of it, and coming back and kind of getting that approval. And I think probably one of the best snapshots of the championship is just that embrace and tearful embrace of her hugging her daughter.
Definitely a cornerstone, a moment from yesterday. All right, Annie, let's talk about the game, because Sky were down 72-65 with under 5 minutes left. It wasn't looking so great. How were they able to turn that around?
Well, an interesting moment in the game that I noticed, and Shannon, I'm sure, noticed many others, but Candace Parker hit a three from around the top of the key in the third quarter, and she just looked around the stadium, like paused and looked around the stadium at every fan she could lock eyes with. And at that moment, there was a feeling you could feel in the arena that they were making a comeback. And then to start the fourth quarter, Allie Quigley hit three-pointers in a row, and it really not only ignited the team, but ignited the entire stadium again. Wintrust Arena just completely erupted, and from that point on, it was hard for Phoenix to make easy plays. They missed a lot of easy layups, and the Sky made theirs, and so they ultimately were able to go on that run late, and I think it really was ignited by a couple key plays from Candace Parker and Allie Quigley.
And those were amazing. That was an amazing run from Allie Quigley, as you mentioned, those three-pointers. Shannon Ryan, talk about some of the other key players. You mentioned Allie Quigley, Candace Parker, Kaylee Copper, Courtney Vandersloot. How crucial have these players been to this championship run?
Yeah, I mean, Kaylee Copper was named the finals MVP and just had a phenomenal season, and came on, I mean, even more so in the playoffs, where I mean, she really drove this team. She had just this really, she always talks about being from North Philly and just this toughness to her. And I think she really benefited from kind of having this big sister role of Candace Parker coming along and taking her under a wing and showing her different things. And yeah, I mean, it's just been really interesting to see new stars emerge on this team, and that was the storyline going into this season, is just how many great players were on this team. And Annie mentioned a bunch of them, and Candace Parker obviously headlines it, but you saw different players step up. I mean, Steph Dolson played, who was an Olympic champion in 3-on-3 this year too, and doesn't get a lot of credit, but she had a really strong moments in that game too. So it was just that Chicago just had so many weapons. They struggled sometimes this season, peaked at the right time in the playoffs, and then really peaked perfectly in the game to clinch it.
And a lot of emerging stars there with Candace Parker being the veteran star to help guide them. Annie Costabile, you've covered this team all year. What's it like to see the city really rally around them in recent weeks when perhaps they weren't getting as much attention back in the beginning of the season?
You know, Chicago shows up for winners, which I guess is a admirable thing. You know, they're not going to show up unless you're winning. So when this guy got Candace Parker, the expectation was, yeah, that fans were going to slowly show up for this team or show up for this team in a way that they hadn't in the past, despite the fact that this team had Sylvia Fowles here, Elena Deladon, and then obviously Courtney Vandersloot has been the backbone of this team for a long time, and she's a star in her own right. But again, when Parker signed with the Sky, there was this sense that, okay, Chicago's finally going to get behind this team. And then they went 500, finished the regular season 16-16, and you know, fans still were not showing up towards the end of the season. And once that playoff run hit, it just, every game, more and more fans came to Wintrust Arena, and by the last two games of this finals run, they were sold out. And so I think it was the players and James Wade spoke about how special it was to see, you know, fans show up like they never had before. And I think it speaks to hopefully what the future is for the WNBA here in Chicago specifically.
You mentioned James Wade, the head coach. So Shannon, Ryan, can the team continue this momentum into next year, not just on the court? And will Candace Parker return? But can they maintain the momentum with the fan interest?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of pieces, like you said, on the court to try to keep together with some free agency coming up. But I think the real question, and obviously continuing winning is a big part of that, but it's really incumbent upon the Sky to keep this going and to go all out with keeping the city embracing you, get your players out there, put them on every billboard, really market the heck out of this thing, because you've got this moment now, which is very tough in Chicago to break into that sports landscape with all these professional teams. And it's really easy to get lost in the shuffle for a lot of the teams if you're losing, especially, you know, that people stop showing up. But the Sky have won. They finally got everybody's attention, including Chance the Rapper and, you know, the mayor and everybody, it seemed like, was there. So now's the time to really, you know, don't let your foot off the gas now.
No doubt about it. And I think a lot of older Chicagoans remember a time when the Chicago Bulls could barely draw anybody to old Chicago Stadium. So this is an inflection point, it looks like, for the Chicago Sky. Huge moment for Chicago and for the WNBA. And our thanks to Shannon, Ryan, and to Annie Costabile. Thank you so much.